These are the 15 things in Fortnite that I bet you didn't know were banned. Friendly fire used to be a norm back in the early days. It was something that used to be a constant thorn in the side of players who wanted a good time playing the game because there was only one idiot in random squads who took pleasure in killing off their own teammates. This is a headache that everyone got to experience, and enough complaints made sure that Epic perma-banned friendly fire from the game.
Oh, this is what I mean about dumbass kids, bro.
Next up, on the more R-rated side of things, we have Fortnite's insanely questionable jiggle physics. Chapter 1 Season 6 saw the game introduce a hyper-realistic show on some characters for their curves. One character in particular by the name of Calamity got super popular mainly because of this factor. Whether players actually used her to win themselves a battle royale or something else entirely out of the game remains a mystery.
Fortnite, this is a kid's game. Do we really need the
Fortnite popped out an official statement saying this was apparently a glitch, but I'm just going to say it takes proper work to get that type of jiggle going. Something more technical, yet potentially game-breaking, was the stretch resolution feature. Players could use this to gain an unfair advantage. If you stretch your resolution, that means you get a lot more screen area to see than others, and you can use more tactics to gain the upper hand in fights. Stretch res was also something that Epic eventually caught because players didn't shy away from showing off. Chapter 3 got players crafty with tents. This hack required a lot of skill and a decent amount of precision to pull off, but those who did it guaranteed themselves a win. Basically, what players had to do was find a way or build a way high above the ground and pitch a tent there. Then, even if the ground or stairs below got destroyed, they'd still be able to stay afloat on top of the tent and snipe enemies from up above. Risky, sure, but worth it if you have good aim and ammo. But for those who couldn't get a good idea of the storm circle and often found themselves running from or in it, Fortnite accidentally dropped an item called Eye of the Storm Tracker during Season 4. This is a cool looking backpack that when equipped showed players where the next Eye of the Storm would form so they could plan their next steps accordingly. This was a huge advantage for people who had this because they could just make their way over to that place and set up camp and even easily ambush enemy players. I know I would be super pissed if someone was already cozy and ready for the next storm circle I'd be running to. In 2021, we had quite some real-world controversy regarding police brutality, which resulted in Fortnite completely removing police vehicles from the game.
The popular video game Fortnite appears to be missing something. Players are noticing the absence of police cars in the third installment of the game.
Epic thought it'd be insensitive to players to include police representation at such a time of strife. Pretty ironic considering they still chose to throw in war-modded buses and tanks into the game. I mean, the entire game revolves around killing, but hey, I'm not pointing fingers. The bear hug emote was initially not safe for work because of how it allowed players to hug, but in more than one way. The glitch on it made the animation look a little risque if one of the players chose to sit just before initiating the hug, and if I'm being honest, many players use the friendly emote to display affection that crossed the limits. Also, loot sharks made their way into Fortnite's waters in Chapter 2, Season 3, and while they may appear like absolute units, they also packed a mean punch too. If you drove a vehicle close to these menaces and provoked them enough, the shark would jump out of the water and take a massive chomp at your car, which would, in turn, activate the glitch and fling you across the map, sometimes even outside of it, resulting in a prompt elimination. They really gotta start nerfing the wildlife, man.
Okay. What? Oh my!
Samus would have been the first ever Fortnite x Nintendo collab if both companies didn't have a falling out at the last minute. Apparently, Nintendo wanted Samus Aran to be a Nintendo Switch exclusive skin. This marketing tactic made Fortnite furious, and they declined because they wanted everyone to enjoy the collab, which makes sense, and I'm super thankful to the people above for standing up for the fan base. China! Multiple restrictions got imposed from the Chinese government on how much time its player base could give to the game in one session. To elaborate, China got Tencent to limit player time to mostly one battle royale, and that's not all. Microtransactions were a big no-no for the Chinese, so players in the country got the Battle Pass and everything in it completely free. Even the V-Bucks could be bagged by completing challenges and not by spending actual money. Players could end up making 1,000 V-Bucks just by completing a handful of quests. Sounds too good to be true, right? And this is why this dream didn't last long, because the game was eventually banned from the country entirely in 2021 because, well, Fortnite wasn't making enough money off of it. Banning the game in a specific country is one thing, but ever since Apple took down Fortnite from its App Store, the game has now been completely locked off for iOS users. This happened following a sneaky move by Epic, who slipped in a payment method for its players that could help them avoid paying Apple the 30% fee it charged for in-app purchases. Fortnite eventually made its way back to iOS, but through Xbox Cloud Gaming. There are always going to be workarounds to get the game working, but officially, Apple is still mad at Epic for trying to be smart. I'm giving away 2,000 V-Bucks to someone that is subscribed within the next 7 days. Now, Fortnite has introduced some very interesting additions to its map over the years, but one of the most controversial ones to this day remains the block. I personally think Fortnite's creative juice was running low, so they let players add their own POI to the map in the hopes of spicing things up. While Epic did manually select the best block designs, many of these were secret hotspots for the pros to get unfair advantages. Farmable resources, legendary guns, and other rare loot could be found in these POIs, and only a select number of players knew where to look for it. While it did make the game a hell of a lot more fun for some, it made it almost unplayable for those who didn't know what was coming for them. The block's reputation got so bad that Epic caught wind of questionable scenes being depicted inside the game. Eventually, the devs decided to remove this feature and tighten their grip over who decided to add what to the map. Double pump. Y'all probably remember how OP shotties were back in Season 1. Basically, how the mechanic worked was that you rocked 2 shotguns and alternated each one after pulling the trigger. This gave players almost zero reload time, as they could keep finishing off other players without needing to reload or pump their shotties. For those of you who had a good grasp over the double pump, you were definitely unkillable for the few months this hack lasted.
Let's go.
Mortal Kombat almost made its way over to Fortnite Season 5 if it wasn't deemed too violent for Fortnite standards. This collaboration had been in the works since Season 3 because we saw what looked like a Johnny Cage fatality in its trailer. We even had leaks featuring Katana and Scorpion side by side, which looked absolutely sick. But considering how uber chill Mortal Kombat itself is with killing, bashing, and gruesomely mutilating characters, I get why Fortnite had to put a cap on any such collaboration. Instead, we got Street Fighter to pop in, which I suppose was the next best thing. Also, does anyone know when the minigun might be making a comeback? That gun could single-handedly dish out enough damage to obliterate an entire team in a few shots, and I wouldn't be surprised if Fortnite decided to vault it until they figured out how to control its power. If you want to see more awesome stuff, make sure to like and subscribe.